This here, brothers and sisters, is a picture I drew of Luffy, and this is a picture of Luffy really just kind of saying, get ready because I'm about to kick your arse all up and down this place, you know. And if you like this and more, remember to follow me on all the social networks. One Piece, Chapter 151, Disguise of Drum.
Oh, and this is the one that I've been waiting for. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and ass kicking tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with, Luffy and Wapol kind of, doing a little Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, Wapol running around the castle, kind of running away from Luffy, retreating, getting into a defensible position, something backfiring on him, and that sort of thing. It really wound up, though, ending with Luffy just about to go and knock him senseless. Just talking about, basically about a pirate. I don't care about that you're a king. I don't care these things because I am a pirate, and I stand for something different. You don't mess with the skull and crossbones, and really that's what the theme is here. So we start the chapter out, and it's really kind of cool. We got Wapol, of course, is. Well, first of all, the chapter actually starts out with Dalton and company. Dalton, Vivi, the villagers, Usopp, all down at the bottom of the mountain, and that one rope that they were talking that was painted white, or that was a white rope, so it really couldn't be seen. Actually had gone, and it was they discovered it by accident, and I guess it was at Dr.Kureha's old house, the tree that she lived in, or what have you. So we go and we see them getting on the lift and getting up there, and there's too many people. It's hard to pedal, but they want to back up Dalton. And Dalton kind of goes through this flashback thing, and it's really kind of cool because we wind up seeing 6 years ago after Hiraluk came to rescue the 20 doctors, found out that in fact they weren't sick, and then of course drank that whatever that was and blew himself up, that potion. But we saw obviously that was when Dalton rebelled against Wapol, and I guess others did as well. So we see that Dalton had been beaten and basically gotten his ass kicked around, for about a week and thrown in jail. And Wapol, and in this flashback, Wapol's, telling him, oh, and what you caused and what you did, and you don't understand, and all you need to do is say you're sorry, just bow down to the king type of thing. And more or less just making fun of Dalton for him wanting to go and have the kingdom have a pulse and a heartbeat and have some morals about them. And he pictures what he did to Vivi, and then of course Vivi, being so diplomatic about it and being like it's okay, not wanting to start this international war. So that's how the first few pages turn out, and then we kind of go back to Luffy and Wapol, and it's really kind of cool because Wapol is going and he's doing his little monologue thing too, talking to Luffy again about how you can't do this, and just because you're a pirate, that doesn't mean that I'm a king, and you don't understand. I'm part of the basically like the council, the international whatever kind of the kingdoms and everything like that. I forget exactly what you want to call it, but more or less like a United Nations type thing. You've committed an international crime and this and that, and Luffy's just like, I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that crap. So Wapol's like, that's it, I'll eat you, because Luffy's got his hand over his face. He's he's been jacking him up and nailing him. And Wapol goes to do his big mouth thing where he looks like a hippo. His mouth just gets gigantic, And as his mouth gets huge or whatever, he's like, I'll just eat you. Luffy's fingers go and stretch with him, so they're kind of just like holding the outer parts of his mouth like, no, I don't think so, buddy. And it's pretty funny because that's what Luffy says. He's just like, no, you're not going to do that. So then Wapol goes in and he says, he turns his tongue. He goes, okay, that's it, tongue cannon. And he's able to turn his tongue into a cannon. So obviously he's got his mouth open and outstretched. He sticks his tongue out. It's a cannon. He's going to be able to shoot Luffy. Luffy's like, oh, crap. And so then anyway, boom, and you just see the kind of zoomed out, thing of the tower, a picture of the tower, and just kind of a kaboom, and you're thinking, oh man, Luffy got blown off of there, or blown up, or whatever. It does go back then and kind of gives us some more insight into Dalton. And Dalton is he's still kind of bruised and battered, and but this is him kind of flashing back to everything that's happened and finding that inner strength to go on and to to go up and to attack, to man up and do whatever he's got to do. And again, we see through the flashbacks just certainly how even like when Wapol did like the purging of all the doctors except for the Ishii 20, how they would go and carry out his orders by just going and taking people and just going and throwing them in the sea type of deal, and so just seeing that and seeing how Dalton was handled, and him. And Wapol even says, people like you, they follow you, But that doesn't make you the king. You know, I'm ultimately the ruler of the drum kingdom, and that's pretty much what it is. It's all about a power thing for Wapol. Whereas Dalton, he's respected because he's an honest person that has some, some a moral compass and some moral integrity. So at least that's what I get from the whole thing, from the flashback. And anyway, and Dalton winds up kind of coming up and manning up, though, and all of a sudden he's just like, boom, and he's just like standing there with the broad shoulders, and, he just got a big old shine on him, like, like he all of a sudden just came out of his funk. And he goes and he pulls out like this belt of like some kind of explosives. It looks like grenades, TNT. Somebody says dynamite. And he says, now when we get to the top, everybody just let me handle something and stand back, And so I don't know what he's planning on doing, but I guess we'll see, or if it's even necessary at this point. Because then it goes back to, and it shows Luffy and Wapol, right? And Luffy has been, he's blown a hole through the wall, and he's like, oh, yeah, boy, now you're finished. You let your guard down. And Luffy's like, no, you did. And he's just like, boom, 1, 2. And he takes his arms and wraps them around, like many times, like a rubber man that he is, wraps them around Wapol's like arms and shoulders, like underneath his armpits. And then he's pretty much got him in like a full Nelson from behind, but he's got his arms wrapped around him and coiled around him a bunch, And then Luffy goes and he gives him the whole thing about the, you basically don't mess with the skull and the crossbones, But he goes and he goes and he unwinds and he's like, Gomu, Gomu. And then he's like, we haven't seen this one before. And he goes, crossbow. And he obviously uses the strength that he had, the tension, that he had coiled up, whatever, to go and fire Wapol. And I mean, just fires him into the air and winds up just crashing him and crushing him in the top of this tower. That's, just boom, and it was just great because you're thinking, oh, Wapol, this is so great. He's done, And the best part about it is that Wapol goes, and in the last few pages, I kind of liked it because Wapol goes, and the tower that he's up on, right, is right up where the flag is, Dr.Kureha's flag. So you've got the tower, and here, let's see if we can get that in there. You've got the tower, of course, and most of you have those, I'm sure, have already read and everything like that. But for those of you that haven't, and then you go and you see Dr.Kureha's flag, which again I thought was great. I thought that was just a great kind of end piece to it. And then we get the whole Luffy, he's like, if you're not willing to put your life on the line, then don't ever touch the skull and crossbones. And that's the theme that goes with Luffy, is that you have to be willing as a pirate. To him, a pirate means somebody he has his strength of purpose, his conviction, he has his goal, and nothing will stop him from that. I mean, Luffy was sitting there back with Buggy with a sword to his neck, about to cut his head off, about to kill him, and Luffy was like not even flinching. He's like, I'm prepared to die. If that's what happens, that's what happens. So that's what I really like about this, because the theme is with the whole pirate thing is basically, to Luffy anyway, it means you don't fuck with the skull and crossbones, okay? And if you do come at me, be prepared to die, because I am prepared and willing to die. So one of us is not going to come out of this alive or standing if you decide to go toe-to-toe with me. And that's really, really what I enjoyed about the whole thing. So very cool. And then Luffy goes and you just kind of see like a zoomed out thing of the top of the Drum Islands, the not Drum Islands, the Drum Mountains of the Drum Kingdom. And we go and we see and we hear Luffy going, Gomu, 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 Gomu. And as he's doing this, and you can see his hand stretching back, so he's just preparing, right? He's winding up, for the ultimate thing. And then it's great because you can see everybody looking at, you know what I mean? You wind up seeing Kureha, you wind up seeing, Chopper, they're looking down, and even Kureha is like, you know what? He's like, the king is lost to the skull and crossbones, right? But we go and we see right at the end, it's a double-page spread, which I thought was awesome. And Wapol the whole time as these he knows he's losing, right? And he's like, I'll give you titles, I'll give you money, I'll give you medals, And Luffy just keeps going with his, getting all just ready for, for the ultimate strike. And then he's just like, Vice King, I'll make you Vice King. And he says that right before Luffy Cohen just unwinds and just boom, bazooka, And I mean, just nails Wapol.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
Or at least we hope, is done and down for the count, that piece of garbage, And of course, like I said, I don't know, it's a nice double-page spread of him just jacking up Wapol, and I mean, just nailing him. And we assume that, like I said, I don't think Wapol, to me, he was never even really like a threat to begin with. He was really more of like an annoyance. He was like a mosquito. You know what I mean? He was just like a pest that just keeps coming by, sucks a little blood, and then you go and you get the mosquito bite. It's itchy, it's annoying, but it's not detrimental to your life. You know what I mean? So that's what I always thought about Wapol, but certainly just because he was such a pompous ass and you just kind of saw everything through the flashback and really, it's one of those like the lipstick comes off the pig, you know what I mean? It's still a pig. Well, he never had lipstick on to begin with. He was always a pig, but the point is that you could just see that this guy was just he was like a polished turd. He was a king, but he was only a king by default because his father died, who obviously Dalton respected and was a great man, at least to Dalton and then in the kingdom. But this little member of the Lucky Sperm Club, and I know I've referred to a couple people as that before, I think Helmapo, back towards the beginning of my reviews, but ultimately that's what it is. I mean, he didn't do anything to earn that power. Honestly, he was just a member of the Lucky Sperm Club. And for those of you that don't know what that means, you think about it, and let's not get too much into reproduction over here, but if thousands of sperm go swimming up in there to go and fertilize an egg, okay, during the whole, males meet male, meet female, man loves a woman sort of thing, right? He was just the lucky one. He was the lucky swimmer that happened to get in there, okay? And that's why I say the lucky sperm. He did nothing else. He didn't do anything. It's not like he built the kingdom or helped to run it. You know what I mean? He went and he basked in the glory and stood on the shoulders of what others had done, and just basically carried on and did what he felt like from that point on. So that's what I mean when I refer to somebody, as being a member of the Lucky Sperm Club. I thought that everything was done very well, but my chapter question is, what do you think about the, what are your feelings about the battle between Luffy and Wapol? Do you think it was as epic as it should have been? Do you think that there should have been more in there? Do you think he was too easily defeated? Do you think that it took too long and dragged on? What are your feelings about the battle between Luffy and Wapol? Leave your answer to that question, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit that thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, brothers and sisters, thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and just ultimately being a part of the nation. Hopefully you enjoy these videos, and we'll keep making them over here.